You've been in Europe, the Prime Minister's been in Europe, and we heard from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who has been, maybe not a huge surprise, but a bit critical of what's been signed over the last few days with the Prime Minister in particular. And he says that the one deal with Germany on critical minerals is a phony declaration that is unenforceable with no money attached, and he's coming home with nothing of consequence. What's your defense of the government's agenda over there in Europe? What do you say to Mr. Poilievre?
I think Mr. Poilievre needs to look at himself in the mirror. When he's describing what you just said, I think he's talking about his own policy.
Why do you say that?
Because ultimately, he, as the opposition leader, has been talking a lot, but with no action. Never did we hear him that we should get to 3.5% of defense budget. Never did we hear him talking about the fact that our armed forces should get a pay raise in order to recruit better and to make sure that we could support our strong men and women. Never did we hear that we should increase defense procurement to make sure that we build more in Canada. Never did we hear from him neither the fact that ultimately we need to be less reliant on the US to become closer to Europe, and that's exactly what we are doing. And never did we hear him about also everything that is linked to our airspace sector and F-35s. So I could go on and on and on, but I think we have not a lot of time for this interview.
I want to start where we ended with the Canada-US relationship. In March, you called this trade war with Trump an existential threat to the country. You were concerned about the country's sovereignty. You were hugely worried about the economic impacts. Do you still feel like this dispute is an existential threat to Canada?
It is definitely a real issue of sovereignty for us. In a world that is more dangerous, JP, I would argue that for us to make sure that we rebuild our industrial base, that we're able to build in Canada many things that we thought we didn't need to because we were over-reliant on foreign supply chains, including those linked to the US. In a world that is seeing so much geopolitical uncertainty, we need to make sure that we're investing more in being closer to European businesses and of course governments, like I was saying, and also Asia. And Canada is a 42 million people country. We have a huge landmass. We need to rebuild our industrial base at a time where we also need to continue to be a trading nation, because the growth of our country is also linked to our capacity to build and to export. And so to be here in Europe and to open markets for entrepreneurs and for businesses and to attract foreign direct investments from European to Canada is important to build the strongest economy of the G7. And we can do that. We can do that together. And that's the mission that I've given myself. And also that's the mission that the government has given itself.
All right, let's end on that positive note. Thank you, Industry Minister Mélanie Joly. Thanks for coming on. Nice to see you.